Well, around town today, we are getting in touch with our wild sides, and we're not just talking lip syncing.
Well, no, because it is Wild Week. This morning, Good Day Columbus reporter Cameron Fontana is at the Ohio Wildlife Center celebrating Wildlife Week. So, Cameron, what do you have in store for us this morning? Where are you, sir?
Yeah. Oh,
there you are.
We popped out because we got to be careful when we're in the wild. Is that right, Angela?
That's right.
That is super right. And this morning we are at the Ohio Wildlife Center spending this beautiful crisp morning outside. With me is Angela. Angela, what do we have lined up today?
Well, we're going to look at some of our native Ohio wildlife here on the property.
Okay.
We're also going to learn how to reunite baby birds with parents if they happen to fall out of the nest.
I've always wanted to do that, reunite baby birds with parents, so I'm going to know how.
We're going to take a look at how to tell if baby bunnies have been orphaned or not, some little tricks that you can do at home. We're going to take a visit from our Scram Wildlife Control to talk about...
What does Scram do?
Scram is a wildlife control service that we provide here at the Wildlife Center, and it's a completely non-lethal way to handle nuisance wildlife.
Oh, like geese, to get rid of geese.
Perfect for geese,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Well, that sounds so exciting. So you want to stay tuned all morning long. We're going to be outside in the wilderness. We're going to play with not play with some animals, but see some animals and just be wild for National Wildlife Week. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's go into the wild.
Okay.
Let's go. We'll see you soon.
Cameron's prepping for spring as he learns a little more about wildlife.
so he's out celebrating National Wildlife Week at the Ohio Wildlife Center in Powell. Good morning, Cameron.
Hey, good morning, guys. That's right. It is National Wildlife Week, and we are with Angela at the Ohio Wildlife Center, and we're going to learn our very first wildlife tip for you guys. And what is that?
To keep wildlife in the wild.
Keep wildlife in the wild. And why is that, Angela?
Well, when people take wild animals from the wild, they become accustomed to humans and they rely on humans as a food source. So then when you try to put them back out in the wild, when they become too wild to be in your home, then they cannot survive on their own.
You mess it all up.
You mess it all up.
And behind us is a great example of actually people that took in these coyotes. Is that correct?
That's correct. This is Hope and Dryden, and they are permanent residents here at the Wildlife Center, and that is because they were taken from their dens as a pup. And people tried to raise them on their own, and when they became too much to handle, they were surrendered to Wildlife Center.
So if someone finds a wild animal, no matter how cute it is, if you find a little coyote or something like this, what should they do?
You should definitely not take it into your home. And most likely it is not an orphan, and the best chance for survival is for that animal to stay with its parents. So human intervention is not the best.
So do they call you guys?
Yes, you would contact your nearest wildlife rehabilitator in Columbus. That would be us. And we could offer suggestions on how to make sure to check and see if that animal actually is an orphan.
Great. Well, there's your first tip. Don't take animals in. And coming up next, we're going to learn how to get rid of those snakes with feathers, as I like to call them, the geese. We see them everywhere. So stay tuned to Good Day Columbus. We're going to figure out how we get rid of them. Coming up next, we're going to look at the coyotes now.
Ooh.
Hope.
Sounds good, Cameron. Thank you very much. Well, it is National Wildlife Week this week, and to celebrate, we sent Cameron Fontana to the Ohio Wildlife Center.
So we have to ask you, Cam, if you could be any wild animal, what would you be? If you could be any wild animal.
Any wild animal, I think a bird. I'd like to fly. What animal would you like to be?
I too would be a bird.
A bird? Would you? I'd like to be a bald eagle.
Yeah,
a velociraptor?
No, not a velociraptor. A raptor.
Angela confused me earlier because she said, we have raptors in the cage over there. I said, crikey. I thought you had dinosaurs here. But we're doing the next tip of Wildlife Week here, and we are at the Ohio Wildlife Center. With me is Adam. Now, Adam, big problem that's happening right now are the little snakes with feathers, as I like to call them, geese.
Yeah,
They're
Canada
everywhere.
Geese. Canada geese are everywhere. We have more resident geese now than we ever have over the history of the United States because they do not need to migrate. We have so much open water with our management styles now, so we have more in numbers.
Yeah, and I have been personally attacked by a goose last year. It's a traumatizing experience. So my instinct is just obviously to put it out of its misery, but that's not the right way to do it. What is the right way?
The right way is to actually discourage them from being comfortable in those areas.
And what do you do with Quick right over here?
Well, Quick is our #1 discourage technique. Quick is a 7-year-old border collie, and what he does is trains and works off the predator-prey aspect of the geese, and they see him as a predator.
Yeah, now show us how it works.
All right, Quick. Quick, come slow. Down. So I use this down, When he's far away from me on a pond, so I can tell him where to be in relationship with where the geese are, so we can get those geese flighted and feeling less than comfortable in those areas.
So basically when they see Quick, they see a predator and they know not to go in that area anymore.
Exactly. We'll kick them off certain areas. We run geese at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium and for the city of Dublin. And what we're trying to do is reduce the amount of negative encounters that people see or have with these geese like you've experienced.
Perfect. So if you have a geese problem, make sure you contact Scram. One of the best employees to get the job done is Quick. And coming up next, we're going to do some more wildlife tips here at the Ohio Wildlife Center. Come on. Look at that, guys. Isn't that cool?
Down.
Oh, I
wish
remember
my dog
Quick.
was like that.
That's awesome. We need to get him to a pond by our house and get some of the geese around there.
Quick and Blaze.
And Cameron Fontana right now, he is out mingling with the wild. He's a friend to all wildlife.
Isn't he, though?
He is. And this morning he's showing us how we can help as well.
He is live in Powell. That's where the Ohio Wildlife Center is. And getting down and dirty with some animals. Doing what? Where are you right now?
Good morning. I'm in the wild, if you didn't already know, because we're celebrating National Wildlife Week. With me is Barbara with the Ohio Wildlife Center. How are you doing, Barbara?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to have a little project right here for a new wildlife tip, and it is for birds. But before we get to it, let's talk about this gorgeous bird right over here.
This is Nakahe. He's one of our education red-tailed hawks at the Wildlife Center. And we have about 50 animals that cannot be released back to the wild that we can then use in our education programs and events so that people can get up close to these animals, learn about their biology and native habits, and also how to help them and prevent human-wildlife conflicts.
Well, Nakahe, you are a movie star. Look how gorgeous he is. So one problem that happens a lot is people might find baby birds, is that right?
Yep.
And we're going to show you how to make a nest in order to reunite the birds with their parents. So how do we do it?
So a lot of times we can't reach the nest when a baby bird has fallen out, if it can't fly yet or it doesn't have enough feathers to be fluttering around. So we can take a margarine tub or some kind of container.
Put holes on the bottom,
Put
right?
holes on the bottom so that if it rains, that doesn't fill up with water. And then all we need is a few paper towels that we're going to be rolling up into make a little donut.
Now, why wouldn't you just put grass in it?
Well, that's a really good question because this looks like the natural nesting material and the parents are using grasses in their nest. Unfortunately, this grass is very moist and it might feel and look dry, but if you put a baby bird in a nest with this in here, it's going to draw the moisture out and cause hypothermia, which
so
means
you're actually hurting them.
You'll get too cold and it won't survive.
Okay.
So avoid using
So forget the grass.
natural grasses with any baby
No grass.
animal. Then after you create this donut, we need to make sure this stays into the shape of a little cup because baby birds can tip over. And the only way they get fed is if they gape with their neck straight up so the parents know.
In order they can spit all that stuff into their mouth and feed
all that
them.
food back in there. So we're going to
Make a cup.
Take all these paper towels to make this nice little deep cup. And the
Now,
baby
as you
now
finish,
can
let's
sit
go
in
right over here. Let's hang it up because we want to show people how it looks like. Now, it's okay for it to be lower because why?
So let's say our baby came out of a nest 30 feet up in that tree. We're not going to reach that far. But the parents are learning the sound of their baby bird, their voices while they're in the
So they
nest.
can hear them. They know
hear
it.
them cheeping, and their instinct is to go to wherever their babies are. And if you think about when the babies come out of the nest in the spring, they are all over the place, and the parents
So
have
like,
to find
Mom,
them.
and she understands.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, there you go. A wildlife tip to reunite baby birds to their parents. We're going to throw it back to you guys, and
Pam,
we're
I have
just
a
going to
quick
hope that some birds
have a question.
come back.
I have a quick question for her.
Yes.
I always heard that if you see,
Okay. Oh,
you know, like baby rabbits or baby birds, that
Question.
you shouldn't touch them because then the adults will smell the human scent on them and not go near them. Is
Good
that
question.
just a myth?
If you find a baby bird, are you supposed to touch it?
It's okay if you touch it. The parents are not sensitive to the sense of smell, and they're only going to really be disturbed if you stay right near the nest or you keep going over and looking in it. Is going to make it really hard for the parents
So
to
you want to
take care
drop
of
the
it.
kids off at school and then forget about it.
Watch from a distance. Yep.
There you go. There's your answer.
Wonderful.
Look at that. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now we know. Every year I get a couple.
Our very wild Cameron Fontana is with some furry friends this morning.
He sure is. He is live at the Ohio Wildlife Center this morning, celebrating National Wildlife Week. Oh, what do you have there, Cameron?
Do you ever laugh at
I have a real life bunny. No, I'm just kidding. It's a fake bunny. With me is Barbara. We've had such a fun time this morning, haven't we?
We have, absolutely.
So we're giving you another tip, okay? Now, this is a problem I've never had. I would love to have, but you might find some baby bunnies in your yard.
Absolutely.
How can you tell if they're orphaned or if they're not?
Well, the easiest way to figure this out is to take 4 pieces of string, and if you've ever played tic-tac-toe, you're just going to lay these strings in a tic-tac-toe board fashion right across the top of the nest.
And normally you would see kind of grass above.
Yeah.
You'll see little bunnies, like a little hole.
Right, these are puppets sticking up, but the baby bunnies normally are in a depression with grass on top, so this is fairly flat on top.
Okay, so you do that. Then the next day, if
Yeah.
there is a mom,
At night, she's going to come. She's going to feed her babies. They only feed once or twice a night. And then she's going to disappear during the day. You're not going to see her near the nest anywhere.
your mom just got thrown away.
She hopped. She hopped over there. Predators would be attracted to the nest. So the next morning, you look and she's been there because you can see that nest is all messed up. If that string is still in position, there is a chance that something has happened to that
someone got the
mom,
mom.
and these babies may be truly orphaned. Another thing you can do is take some flour,
Okay.
and you
So
can
can I do this one?
actually make a little circle right around close to the edge of the nest.
Like here?
Uh-huh.
Is that good?
Yeah, you're going to want it about 5 or 6 inches wide like
And
that.
what does this do?
All the way around. So, what do you suppose you're going to see if mom traipses through that flour? Yes,
Let me get my mom.
you go get mom. Okay?
Footprints.
Some footprints.
Oh, okay.
So that's another way to determine if the mother is attending.
And what if you have
baby.
dogs?
Well, if you have pets that you believe are going to get into this nest, you can actually cover it during the daytime with a laundry basket.
And then at night take it
And
off?
Take it off at night so mom can get there. If you think your pet's going to knock this over, just take a couple little tent stakes and stake
Got
it
it.
down in the ground. Just remember to pull it off at night. And the
Sweet.
great news is you only have to do this for 14 days. These
Perfect.
babies are going to be out of that nest, ears up, eyes open, hopping around, and they might only be this size. They're going to be really small, but they're not orphans. They're on their own at this age.
Well, you know what? We have had so much fun this morning learning wildlife tips. Thank you for having us, and we're going to toss it to the break. More is coming up on Good Day Columbus. We're going to stay in the wild and play with some bunnies. So this bunny's going to go over here.